Hey guys, you're watching Boondocking with Dennis. It's about 8:30 in the morning. Wind is about 10 miles an hour, and the sun is fighting to come out. I don't think we're scheduled to get any rain today. I think it's just going to be kind of hazy, sunny, cloudy. I think we're getting a couple days of that, and then it says another 7 days of 50-50 on the rain. And I'm not complaining. We need the rain. Of course, the rain brings the mosquitoes. I guess they're God's creatures. They got to eat too. And apparently I'm delicious. I actually haven't been bothered by the mosquitoes too much. When I know the mosquitoes are out, I try to stay up by the water as much as possible and catch the breeze by the beach. That's pretty. Let me see if I can get this right. There's a postcard right there. Now, I had wanted to boondock for a long time. Most of it was just being sick of being taken advantage of. I would get a nice place. I would let people move in, family, friends of family, and I always felt like I was getting taken advantage of. I'd wind up paying for everything, and people would do drugs, not contribute to the household. And I decided that I could get away from all that by living in my truck. Wouldn't have to pay rent. Matter of fact, I do save about $2,000 a month, and I'm putting those numbers on what I was paying 3.5, 4 years ago, so I'm sure it's even worse now. But no electric bill, no water bill, no trash removal bill, no landline, no internet, no cable, no rent, no mortgage. Bunch of vultures out there. It's funny, I'm talking about vultures taking advantage of you, and then there's a bunch of vultures out there. I can't tell if they're turkey vultures or black vultures, because I can't really see color on their faces. So where I was living at the time was a 2-story apartment, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, everything that you have when you live inside. And I started on the upstairs, and anything that could be sold was sold. Anything that really meant something to me, I gave it away. I had artwork that I gave away. I had what else? I had a signed autograph by Black Joe Lewis, my favorite band, that I gave away, and just anything that really meant something to me, I gave away. And I would start with I started with the guest room upstairs and put my guest room furniture, which I had just bought brand new 2 years before, bed, end table, dresser. Put that for sale on Facebook, just on my page. I never went through Facebook Marketplace on any of my stuff. It's sold. I gave away my fish tanks, 2 55-gallon fish tanks, and everything that went with it, and the 10-gallon tank, and the stands, and the lights, and any food or filters that I had, and all the equipment. It's funny, 2 separate people, when I was selling stuff, asked me if they could give me some money now and then pay me later. And it's been 3.5 years, and I'm still waiting for the later payment on my living room TV and stand. They owe me $200, and I had a really good speaker that was like portable Bluetooth that was like $250, and sold it for $100, and I'm still waiting for $50 on that. Gotta love a good church-going person who doesn't feel they need to pay you for what they bought. So that's my rant on that. You know, a lot of the problems I have with church is the actions of their congregation. I'm just looking at a lady walking her little dog. Beautiful dog. I gotta wave. Here comes a scooter. Here comes a scooter, guys. He looked like he was gonna wave, but then didn't want to leave go of the, what do you call them? The grips. What do you call that? Man, I'm old. So eventually got everything out of my house. And about a week before I moved out, I went to the Lear dealership. And actually didn't even have a topper. When February came, I didn't even have my topper yet. I have a Lear topper on my F-150. That's what I use to sleep in and keep my stuff dry. So there's a bicycle coming behind me. I'm going to let him pass. We'll look at the water. Let me get my finger out of that shot for you. Ain't that pretty. Truck coming, might as well look at the water a little longer. Get my mirror out of the shot. Okay, we're good. So, the first night I boondocked, I noticed in Portland there was a old Kmart that was closed, but truckers parked there overnight. So I parked there, and I was sleeping in the front seat. I tried laying down in the back, and I tried everything. I didn't get much sleep the first night. I just wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. And the first night I slept at some point, and I woke up, and there were fire trucks at the Kmart. I guess a silent alarm went off, a smoke alarm. So they had fire trucks there and police there, and it wound up to be nothing. Well, about the third night sleeping there, they put up signs, no overnight parking. So I called the Walmart in Portland. At that time, I was working for Uber and Lyft. So being in the Portland area was important, because that was a good spot to get businessmen at the hotels and people from around the world, man. Norwegians and Iran and China all would come on the ships and come there for business. A lot going on at that area at the time, and still is. So I started excuse me, let me get some coffee. Nature's liquid plumber. That'll get anything out of my throat. I started parking over at the Portland Walmart, and right before I moved out of my apartment, I met a customer who wanted to hire me and pay me cash. And this guy lived in Taft, about 20 minutes away, and he liked to go out and drink, and he was smart enough to get a ride. So that was like 3-4 nights a week. He would just call me, and I would pick him up or pick his buddies up, or he'd go from work right to where he wanted to go drinking, and I would pick him up there and take him home and drop his buddy off. And I was making more working private than I was getting from Uber and Lyft, you know. And it was all learn as you go. I didn't have curtains in the cab. Once I got the cab, There was a Planet Fitness in Portland where I could take a shower every day. And those even the first year, if I didn't take a shower every day, I just wasn't awake. That took a long time to get used to. Now I shower 3 or 4 days a week. I get washed head to toe with, soap, water, wash rag. I've got a little scrubby stick, and I do that at least twice a day. Matter of fact, I do it even the days I take showers, just out of habit. Because when I wake up in the morning, I could take a shower right before I go to bed, and it's it's humid. You sweat, you wake up, everything's wet, your bedding's wet, whatever shorts I wore to bed that night are wet, and you need to really get out on mornings like this and get in the sunshine and get in the wind and just dry everything out, So, and like I had so much stuff that I didn't need, needed stuff that I didn't know I needed, and I'm pretty comfortable now. I got it down to, my extra bedding, my my bed. I'm happy with my bed. I'm happy with my 2 bags, one filled with extra stuff, one filled with clothes. I really like my stove. I've had the same stove. I can't believe that poor thing has lasted this long. I think when I got it, it was $12, and now they're about $17. I have a single burner butane stove, so I can have tailgate cuisine videos. I don't eat out like I used to, unless someone specifically sends me a gift card or money to go eat out. That just, when money's tight, like, you don't necessarily want to go spend $30 on a meal, when you could buy groceries for a week for that. And then right as the pandemic hit, I was doing good with Uber and Lyft, maybe clearing after gas and all, about $700 a week. So, paying my bills on time, having in the beginning, I would even go stay at a hotel once a week, and then that got to be once a month, and now it's like I don't want to stay at a hotel. I'm more comfortable in my truck, So my needs have declined as I've gone on. I'm happy with, I got water and some food. I'm happy with that. And that's a good thing. RV Living with the Geezer put out a video about him becoming minimalistic to get everything down to fit into a trailer. And I had to get minimalistic to get everything down to fit in my F-150 and my Lear topper. So everything was rolling along good. No money problems. Private dock. Let me get it straight on. There you go. Private dock, no trespassing. Well, I didn't even want to trespass till you told me I couldn't. Right when the pandemic hit, I was having pains in my lower chest abdomen. I went to the emergency room twice, and they sent me to the hospital, and both times they did like a sonogram. No, it's not your gallbladder. It sounds like your gallbladder, but it's not your gallbladder. And of course, it was my gallbladder. One night, the pain was so bad, I was screaming. I was in my truck alone screaming. And I've been seriously injured, and I've never screamed like that. And my urine was blood red, and I thought it was blood. It turned out it was bile. A kidney stone had blocked my was it liver duct? I think it was, or my I don't know what it was, guys. Where does bile come from? I'm drawing a blank. I forget what was being blocked. But they admitted me to the hospital. 2 days into the they were telling me how screwed up my kidneys were. It had to be my kidney that was blocked. How screwed up my kidneys were, and I wasn't, start telling people you might not make it. So, talked to my daughter and a few close friends, and here we go. Let them know. The second day, they kept coming in the room. Your kidneys, I don't know what the percentages were, but the percentages of it working, your kidneys are at 30%, your kidneys are at 28%. It wasn't good. Then they took out my gallbladder, and there were a few. No, first they removed gallstones wherever they were piled up at. And as important as this is, you think I would remember it? Nope. They took out 10 stones. And that's when they decided they need to take out my gallbladder. Nothing coming? Kind of letting cars pass. So, they scheduled the second surgery. They took out the stones, and then the second surgery, they took out my gallbladder. And they told me that could go a few different ways. And fortunately, it went the easy way. I think they made 5 small incisions from like your side, your belly button, And that once they took out the stones in the first surgery, I wasn't in pain anymore. Well, when they took out the gallbladder, the surgeon told me it was basically a bag of gallstones. And I said, how many stones were in there? And he said, too many to count. I'm sorry, she said, too many to count. And I jokingly said, come on, you went to medical school. You should be able to count pretty high. So, I got out of that hell they call a hospital. Real nice people there. I just had roommates from hell, old people up screaming all night, and I finally got one of the nurses to give me a room by myself. And I recovered. And the world was shut down. Uber and Lyft shut down. And, yeah. Now, in that time somewhere, I worked for 7 or 8 months for a friend of mine doing customer service. And she had told me that that job was ending, but it lasted longer than we thought it would, and that worked out well. And now I just do videos. So, it's a struggle. Maybe it's meant to be a struggle. And I'm just trying to hang on until I can start getting my Social Security. And then with the money I get from YouTube, that should be a decent wage to keep me afloat. But right now, I get to look at the water, weather permitting, gas money permitting. I get to travel a little bit, see things. I got to see bison at Caprock Canyon, prairie dogs, longhorn sheep. I've been to about 20 Texas state parks. I've gotten to see friends and throughout Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas and Missouri and back down through Texas again. So it has been a very good experience. And it's certainly not for most people, but it's working out for me. And when there is a problem, it's not necessarily boondocking related. You know, my friend Debbie asked me about my knees, and because I hadn't mentioned my knees lately, and my knees are bad. My knees are getting worse, and I try to keep the negative stuff out of it, you know, even though basically this entire video has been negative stuff. But boondocking, I've met a lot of nice people. I've met people that I consider family. There's people that I talk to that I consider family that I haven't met yet and probably never will. People far, far away, people in other countries. But it has been an awesome experience. YouTube has been very good to me. Some days it's a pain in the butt, but you know, what job isn't? What thing doesn't have its pros and cons? Guys, traffic's picking up. Rockport and Fulton are waking up. People are going to work. Thanks for riding along with me today, guys. Thanks for watching.